Josh Pyke, welcome back to Australian Musician.
Thank you for having me.
We've called you up today to have a bit of a chat about Sunset Sounds, a festival that you're playing November 20, Hunter Valley, New South Wales, and November 28, Hastings Foreshore in Victoria. You're playing alongside Xavier Rudd, Pete Murray, Kasey Chambers, The Church, Ben Lee, Kyle Lionhart, and a few others. Rather than just a disparate bunch of artists, there's a real collection of storytellers on this bill. Do you think that might attract a different kind of audience, maybe a more attentive crowd?
I think so, yeah. It sort of reminds me of those Day on the Green shows in a way where it's like a really curated experience. So the bill is, it's not trying to be something for everybody. It's trying to kind of be a really distilled and cohesive bill. As you say, everybody on that bill is, whether or not you call them singer-songwriters or storyteller songwriters or whatever. But yeah, there definitely seems to be a theme of people that do kind of communicate through song in that way.
Do you enjoy playing multi-artist concerts and being able to catch up with people backstage?
Yeah, I love it. It's like it's one of the joys of being a musician is playing festivals. I have so many fond memories of being at festivals and really cementing friendships with those experiences. Falls Festival and stuff like that. I remember having amazing times. And this will be the first festival I've played in a long time, not only due to lockdown, but I took a couple of years off touring. So it's probably been 4 years since I've played at a festival. It's been about 3 years since I've played, or maybe even 4 years since I've played a full band show. So it's been a long time.
Wow. Are you a side stage kind of guy? Do you like to watch other artists play and check out the crowd, or do you just hit the stage when it's your time?
No, I love watching side of stage. It's, again, like I have so many amazing memories of watching some of my favorite bands at these concerts from side of stage, like the Beach Boys and the Shins and TV on the radio and stuff like that. So no, I'll definitely be up there side of stage watching. It gives you it's a totally different perspective on watching a gig. I still love being in the crowd and watching. That's obviously, that's the kind of perspective that the performer is wanting to give. But yeah, you kind of see this different perspective from side of stage, and it's always lovely when you know the people on stage and they'll throw a look your way halfway through the show or give you a wave or something like that. It's nice. It's a good feeling.
Yeah. As you say, you haven't played with the band for quite a while. What sort of rehearsal regime will you give yourselves for these gigs?
I haven't rehearsed with the band for a long time. So I rehearse here in my studio, which you can see in the background. I've got a PA set up, which is fantastic. So we'll probably play a few games of pool in between. But generally what I do is just put together a set list and give the set list to them, a couple of weeks in advance, so that by the time we hit the rehearsal room, we're kind of well versed anyway. And it doesn't take too long these days with particularly with the band. I gave up a long time ago trying to micromanage musicians to play everything exactly the way I want it or exactly the way that it is on the record. I think it's just way more fun for everybody involved if we know the basic framework of the song, and then we just have fun and kind of jam on it a bit. So it makes it a lot more organic and authentic and just fun.
Will you be concentrating on the Rome album?
I always like playing a bit of everything. I remember I read something where Paul Kelly was like, it's kind of insulting to the crowd if you don't play the old favorites. So I'll definitely be playing songs from across the whole catalog, but I'll certainly play a few songs from Rome and also from this new album that I'm slowly releasing over this year. So yeah, it'll be a bit of everything.
Yeah. Does your stage rig change at all from club to a big outdoor gig?
Oh, massively, yeah. I mean, particularly from when I mostly play solo these days, which I really love. It's a different type of experience. And so when I'm playing solo, I play with a stomp box. I recently got a digital stomp box, which is really cool, gives a bit more consistency. And I use a loop pedal and I use a little, this is my little solo setup just there.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have a little keyboard, which has various inbuilt sounds. So I've tried over the year. I used to use an iPad on stage with main stage running, and it's was really good. You can actually run your iPad as a MIDI controller into a little MIDI keyboard. But it's the Akai MPK Mini Play, and it's got internal sounds. It just makes touring a lot easier and sort of more self-contained. So yeah, and then I use a loop pedal, and that's pretty much it. That's my solo setup. And then for full band, it's your classic drums, bass. Matt Fell plays guitar and keys, and we all sing. Yeah.
Yeah. What about stage patter? Do you hit the stage with some pre-planned routines, or do you generally just wing it?
No, I'm a big wing it guy. I mean, I think if you saw me 5 shows in a row, you might hear me say 1 or 2 things that I've said before. But I think that spontaneity and, like bantering with the crowd and bouncing off the crowd is kind of what, for me, makes a live show fun to perform, And I do think people respond to that when they're watching. They can tell if it's like a stage thing, if they're getting the same thing that everybody else got. I just think it's more fun to kind of throw caution to the wind and see what happens.
Yeah. Has performing always come easy to you, or is it something you've, has it been a skill that you've learned over the years?
It's definitely a skill that I've, learned. It definitely didn't come easy to me at all early on. I mean, I've mentioned this to you before, but I started playing live when I was about 12, playing in bands and band comps, and it used to scare the shit out of me for years and years and years. And it really wasn't until I was in a punk band for a number of years, and that kind of punk attitude of not really caring kind of got me through that period of self-consciousness, I guess. But it was really when I went solo, I kind of had to start again, overcoming that, because I was up on the stage completely alone for the first couple of years of performing. But I did feel, because I was performing stuff that was very dear to my heart, it kind of allowed me to get over that again. And, I've been doing this for whatever, 30 odd years now. So it's just, it gets easier because you've just done it so much.
Yeah. I know you're really proud of the Rome album, and you haven't really been able to promote it in the way that you would have liked. Are there any tracks off the album that you feel lend themselves to a big expanse of people, like Sunset Sounds?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had best laid plans. We had such a great rollout for that album, including, solo shows ramping up into big stage shows and festival shows. And it just wasn't to be. But yeah, I mean, for me, songs like, Home is just a big stage show. Like when I wrote that song, I could imagine people singing that back at a festival. I mean, there's a lot like River. I Thought We Were a River is just like I can't wait to play that one with the band. Probably that one in particular, I think, is going to be the most fun to play with the band.
Yeah. Does it become easier or harder to create a set list with each new album?
Oh, harder. I mean, I've got, what is it, seven albums or something, and the mini album and the EP and stuff. It's just impossible. I mean, it's impossible. There's always going to be 40, 50 songs that get left off that people want to hear. I don't know what to do about that. I mean, I sort of feel like I'm getting to the point where I need to do a A to Z show, but then again, I don't know if anyone's got the patience for that. I don't know if I have the patience for that.
You recently released the Hummingbird, a collaboration with Gordy. Tell me about the collaboration, and is that part of the album you're working on?
Yeah, so Gordy was a JP Partnership winner, I think the second year maybe. And she's obviously just an incredibly accomplished musician, doing so well. I just love her voice. I just think her voice is so unique in the Australian music landscape. And so we were co-writing a song together. I just wanted to do some writing with people. And it was during lockdown, so we're doing it, via Zoom or via email pretty much. And, slowly we came up with the song, back and forth. And then I was like, initially it wasn't going to be a duet or anything, but I just thought it just would be great as a duet. And so, she agreed to do it. And then we were going to have to do the vocals remotely, but there was like a window after that long Melbourne lockdown where she was up in Sydney. So she came over and hung out, and we recorded the vocals. And yes, so that is part of this new album, which will, so To Find Happiness and Hummingbird is part of this new album that's going to come out next year, early next year.
Yeah. So the themes of the new album, the effects of the pandemic, has that crept into your songwriting?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the songs were written. So, I mean, Rome was written well and truly before COVID hit. And then this new record was written largely during lockdown and during this whole period. So it's all done. I've mixed it. I went up to Byron and mixed it at the music farm up there with Wayne Connolly. And I love it. Like, it's just incredibly frustrating thing as a musician where I've got these two albums that I just love, like I'm biased and everything, but I always think I wouldn't bother putting out an album unless I thought it was my best work, right? So I've got these two albums which I just love and I'm so proud of. And as you say, I haven't been able to, promote them or get out there and show them off in the way that I would have if COVID hadn't existed. So it's really frustrating, but it's like, on the flip side, I don't know what you do. I don't want to stop, I don't want to just like put everything on pause. I also I'm quite I don't have a short attention span, but I don't want to hold on to songs, I want to release them in the world. I think art needs to be free, and I don't want to do an album and then go, well, I'll just wait till the world gets back to normal, because I don't know, those songs, the world's moved on from those songs, I've moved on from those songs. So yeah, it's irritating to have these two bodies of work that I love and not be able to push them like I would normally, but the flip side is to not do anything, which is not right either.
Yeah. Kids books, any new kids books coming out?
Yeah, actually, I don't have it here, but yeah, I've got a new kids book came out on last Friday called Chatterpuss. So that's 4 now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so that's 4 kids books. I've got another one coming out at the end of this year, 2 more next year. So yeah, it's something I'm focusing really heavily on. I really love it.
Yeah. You've been doing a bit of homeschooling and you're about to return to it again. Have you learned anything yourself from the curriculum?
Oh, I've learned that I'm even worse at maths than I thought I was. I was trying to do stuff this morning with my youngest kid about fractions, and I was like, I don't remember how to do this. I don't know if I was ever taught how to figure out what a fraction, what a fraction of something else is. It was pathetic. I had to secretly go away and look it up on my phone and then come back and act like I, knew it all along. But yeah, so I've learned that I'm far less well educated than I thought I was.
You've got some gigs of your own coming up. Hopefully they'll all happen. Are they solo shows?
Yeah, so these are all solo shows apart from Sunset Sounds, the ones that you mentioned, which are at the tail end of that run. So, it's this thing where I had a pretty distinct capital cities run, and then there was going to be quite a big break, and then there was going to be the regional side of it. But because of COVID and these lockdown issues, I've had to reschedule all these sort of capital cities shows. So now they've been pushed back. If this is the timeline, capital cities was here, regionals here. Now capital cities is moved here, so it's just this long. It's like 35 shows, kind of in a row, if it all goes ahead. So it's obviously it's a blessing to get out on the road, but it's not exactly the way I'd planned it initially. Yeah, but what are you going to do?
Oh, Josh Pyke, it's been great to catch up, and we look forward to seeing you out on the road.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.